My name is Oscar Dixon. I'll be talking about the promotional tool public relations, what it is, why companies choose to use it, and one of the most successful recent PR campaigns that I've seen. Public relations are a marketing tool that uses social statements and events to promote brand image. But why do companies choose to engage in public relations? Well, the biggest goal, I would say, is to reach larger demographics. Most oftentimes, companies find themselves pigeonholed into one group of people that already are aware and comfortable with the brand. With a good and well-tailored public relations message or event or sponsorship, they could gain access to a whole new group of demographics. This can play a huge role in the buyer readiness stages of awareness, knowledge, and liking. The buyers are now exposed to a new brand that they didn't know existed before, or they learned something new about the brand that they didn't know before. Public relations utilizes many different tools to engage with new demographics and existing demographics. They can interject themselves into the news cycle. This is really useful because it can seem more authentic, and it also gains them access to a larger demographic that they would otherwise have to pay for advertising for. They can bring on sponsorships that represent the company, or even partnerships with other companies. They can generate internal papers like white paper, or not internal, but external papers like white papers and press releases. They can also use well-coordinated stunts and events to promote public image. The benefits of public relations are they create sweeping brand recognition, they promote positive image of the company, they reach new demographics or targeted demographics, they can differentiate themselves from competitors, and they could be a lot more cost effective. With a well-tailored and well-made message, a PR event and campaign could be less costly than other marketing tools. The biggest risks to public relations are the unintended consequences of a poorly tailored message. They could be insensitive, like the Kendall Jenner Pepsi commercial, in which they insinuated that public unrest can be solved by Kendall Jenner just giving you a Pepsi. They could be inauthentic, like the time BP poured billions of dollars into advertising during the Gulf oil spill. Or they could be absurd, like the Cadbury Heinz collaboration in which they made Cadbury egg mayonnaise, which was popular in the UK but didn't really land well in the US. Then there's also logistical errors or nightmares in which, like the Lite-Brite terrorism fiasco, where Lite-Brite did some guerrilla advertising marketing, placing Lite-Brites throughout urban areas, which prompted people to call in the Lite-Brites thinking that they were bombs. Any one of these could do damage to the brand image, and depending on the logistical errors and fiascos, it could actually cost quite a bit more than just any of the other marketing avenues. Public relations work in tandem with all of the strategies of the promotional mix, but I would say where they work particularly well is with digital and social media, especially social media. With social media, companies can communicate directly with the public, they can comment on certain trending ideas, they can tailor messages, and they can also operate as a channel to get out new advertisements or messages or whatever it is that they're trying to communicate with the public. An example of this is Taco Bell's Twitter persona. Taco Bell created this jovial, witty persona on Twitter that often will comment with humor that is aligned with their target demographic, which is mostly college age, stoner sort of humor. I want to talk about one of the best promotional campaigns that I've seen within the last couple of years, and one that I think really hits all the different areas of what we've been talking about, and that's Hostel World's Even Divas Are Believers. Hostel World is an intermediary that provides a way for consumers to interact with hostels in order to book times where they can stay at those hostels. Even Divas Are Believers was a way of co-opting sponsorships to be able to promote a new image of hostels and dispel some of the prior myths of hostels. So what were the goals of the campaign? Well, mostly they wanted to dispel the myths around hostels. There's so much negative connotations around hostels. There was even a horror movie that came out not too long ago called Hostel, where the protagonists had to escape a dangerous serial killer hostel. But most of the myths are around them being dirty, dangerous, party houses, that you have no privacy, that you have to interact with strange people. I personally have used hostels, and I haven't had this experience. I used a hostel in Korea. I actually used Hostelworld to be able to book that. The target market was globally young people, but particularly in the US, the UK, and Australia, and especially in the US, where people here aren't used to using hostels that much. I don't know of very many hostels that exist within the US. I'm sure that they do, but I don't interact with them personally. The strategy of it was that they wanted to do a blitzkrieg sort of media coverage where they hit with a lot using conventional channels like TV, radio, and such. Well, I don't know about radio, but more so TV. And the hope was is that the video would eventually catch on and go viral. They understand that young people are more likely to interact with the internet, especially YouTube and their own website. They also chose a icon, Mariah Carey, who is globally loved, but is also a symbol of luxury and success. They also featured 50 Cent and a couple other notable American pop stars, which they knew would be popular amongst young people. Uh, and in the US, they were actually able to land TV broadcasts on Fox News, or not Fox News, Fox and ABC, which was extremely successful. So how successful was the campaign? Well, first off, they immediately got over 1,500 mentions, features, and articles on the PR campaign itself, most notably in Good Morning Britain, Vice, and Cosmopolitan, which are great because that's their target market. Young people read Cosmopolitan and Vice. Also within the first week, the video had been viewed 3.9 million times and now is currently at 13 million to date, which is pretty much the definition of going viral. They achieved the goal. Due to going viral, they saw a 49% increase on traffic on their site, and it was pretty cost effective considering that most of the work and the publicity was done through people that they didn't have to pay, like a viral video or these articles. Also, this is kind of a last note about this is I think that this campaign is probably going to be seeing like for further returns on this later on down the road as we come out of this pandemic. Young people in particular, are going to be looking for more cost-effective alternatives to, say, Airbnb and hotels, and hostels really provide that for them. So I think getting this message out ahead of the pandemic, which wasn't their strategy, they didn't know of the pandemic, but it just goes to show that a well-timed public relations campaign can really have long-term positive results. And this is just my credits page. I read a pretty interesting article on 5 failed PR campaigns. It's pretty funny. There's a lot of interesting stuff in there. And then an interview with Hostelworld's campaign, PR campaign manager, and also an article in Hostelworld about the misconceptions of hostels. So, thank you so much. Y'all have a good rest of your semester.